Hey, everybody. Welcome again to another episode here of Lost and Found Muscle Cars. I'm your host, Wes Eisenchank, also creator of the Facebook page Lost Muscle Cars, author of the book Lost Muscle Cars. We love finding lost muscle cars. Today, I have an awesome guest, man. I got Bill here, and Bill posted a 1959 Corvette that he used to have. And this is a really fun story because we don't do a lot of first gen Corvettes here, but this is something that just jumped out to me as one of the cherry picking cars I wanted to talk about. So, Bill, how are you today?
Good, real good, Wes. Nice to meet you.
Fantastic. Hey, thanks for joining us here on Lost and Found Muscle Cars. Now, this 59 Corvette really wasn't your first foray into the Chevrolets, right? So, can you take me back a little bit? Let's talk about some earlier offerings you had.
Sure. Yeah, the first car I had was a 1962 Chevy Impala convertible, red with top, and I got that right after I graduated from high school, and uh,
How much? How much did you pay for it?
uh, I paid $325 for it, and it wasn't in bad. It wasn't perfect, but it did need an engine, and so I did have to replace the engine in it, which cost me another $300. So I
So,
think
so
650 when I got rid of it. So I made out a
down,
little.
down the road and $650. What year was this about?
This was 1968.
Okay, cool. So car's a little bit used, but man, the depreciation on something that quickly for
Oh,
a car. I mean, it's like you get these things. Probably then it was a $3,000 car new, but it's already down to 10% of its value.
oh yeah. Well, the second car I had was a 67 Camaro. I bought that together with my brother. We split it. We were both going off to college, and I think on that car we paid about $1,200 for it.
What
Uh,
year was the purchase?
uh, Probably in about 77, something like
So
so.
68, was this a 350 equipped car or was it a big block?
No, it was 327. It was a rally sport um, model, not the super sport, but it was a rally sport, and it it did the job. It was a fun car. Terrible in Ohio winters, though. You couldn't drive it through the snow very well, but
Rear wheel drive. Yeah. Now, was that an auto car? Was it a four
yeah,
speed or three speed?
that was automatic also. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So, what happened to that car? Did you guys end up parting with it and moving on?
Um, After I graduated, I sold my half to my brother, and he kept it for like another year or two, and moved on from there. And In the meantime, I bought a Volkswagen bus, traveled for a little bit. When I got back, I sold the Volkswagen, bought a '69 Ford Mustang Mark One.
Mach 1 class? Oh, Mach 1. You're kidding me.
Yeah, yeah.
What color combination? I got to know. What color
Oh,
combination?
it was beautiful. I can show you a picture later, but it was a blue with all the correct striping, and
Oh, they had that gorgeous color Acapulco blue in
oh,
69. That was just, what a beautiful car. 69 Mustang. So, you probably move on from the Mustang. What comes next?
I got the Corvette.
Are you just cruising down the road and you see it on the side of the road, or is it something you're seeking out?
No, I had my eye out for something like that for a while, and there was a dealer locally that used to like specialize in them. He imported a lot. I don't know where he got them from, but he'd have four or five Corvettes all the time, on the lot. And I spotted this one, looking at it and stuff. It had I don't know if you're familiar, it had a California black plate on it, which,
Absolutely. Yeah, very familiar.
because, in California, the plate stayed with the car when you sold it. So obviously, at some point, it probably came from there, but you never know. I mean, you
It's
know.
a perfect place for a Corvette convertible, right? So this Corvette was a removable hardtop.
Right, right. Those cars were made. You could choose either a hardtop, removable hardtop, a convertible top, or for an extra charge, you could get both.
Wow. Okay. So you spot this Corvette, you probably dart off the road and you get into the parking lot and walk me through just kind of what was the reason this was the car you were going to buy.
The right car at the right time. You know,
Yeah. You
I
were just ready in life to
right,
finally settle on a Corvette.
and I thought, you know, next time, hey, later on, you get married, have a family, stuff like that. This was the time for me, to you know do something like that. You know,
That's
so
right. Let the hair fly in the wind. Got your Creedence Clearwater Revival blaring. What else? What else was there special about this Corvette?
when I bought the car, again, it had maybe been modified, but it had a two-barrel carburetor on it
Hmm.
on the 283, but that was never an option. Now I checked into it; the engine seemed to be the correct number, but somebody had probably removed the carburation and put on a two-barrel. Well, I did happen to find a two four-barrel manifold and carburetor setup with a dual point distributor along with it, and I bought that. I never got to install it because I sold it before that, but I think I paid maybe 250 for it. The air cleaner that you would use on that thing was probably
Yeah.
too much as the whole setup, the carburetors and the manifold and the dual point distributor. It was going to cost me more for an air cleaner.
Now take me to you having a family. You still have the Corvette. We're in the mid '80s. Tell me, what was the reason for parting with the Corvette?
Well, again, the house we were living in with the three girls was only two bedrooms. We had three girls sharing a bedroom. It was actually the upstairs of a two-family house that I bought. Anyways, it was time to move. We had to expand. It was bigger and stuff. So I actually didn't sell it to buy the house, but after we moved in, it was like we're going to need some more money to to do something here.
So Bill, we're approaching almost 40 years since you last saw the Corvette.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Well, Bill, we're here at Lost and Found Muscle Cars, and we really like to emphasize on the found portion of what we do. With that, I got an old friend for you to see. Are you ready?
Okay, sure. Oh, wow, there it is. No kidding. How cool is that? Looks great. Nice.
Confirmed via serial number, Bill.
Really?
This is your old '59 Corvette, which has now been in a long-term owner. A family has had the car for a long time, but without a doubt, Bill, that's your old Corvette.
Yeah, great, great. Looks great. Yeah, that's cool. You know, I, I always kind of wondered, well, what happened to it? You never know. Some cars get in wrecks and some things happen. People sell them and they disappear. But that's kind of what I was interested in is just seeing, if it's still around and how it looks. It's great.
Let's bring in its current caretaker, Kevin. Would you mind stepping in and having a seat? And let's introduce you to Bill.
Talking, Bill.
Hey,
How we
good.
doing?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
So, how long have you had it?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's actually a really funny story on how it came to be like with me. I started dating my wife back in 2017, and we're kind of I'm more outdoorsy than she is, but she doesn't mind kayaking. And this garage we're actually sitting into belonged to her uncle Stanley. and she kept her kayaks over here in this garage.
Sure.
So one day she's like, "Let's go kayaking." I was like, "Okay, sounds good." And her uncle Stanley wasn't doing too well in health. He had like home health aides in his house. I never really got to meet him.
Yeah.
But we came over that day, and she's like, "Be quiet. We have to go into the garage." And this door, where in this bay where I'm sitting, uh, we opened up. The garage door was already halfway open, which was interesting to me. And we walked in. There's a bunch of leaves, and we're going to get the kayaks, which were placed like directly behind me. And I walk into the garage, and I see there's two cars, and they're both under like car covers. And the first one I walk over to is behind me, and it was a '69 fastback with like these massive drag radials on it.
Wow.
And the important part to note is when I asked my wife, I was like, "What are these cars?" Before I pulled the tarp off of that one, she goes, "They're just some old junk cars." I said, "Okay, cool." So I pull off the tarp off that fastback, and I was like, "Okay, I'm not really a Ford guy, but I was like, I can appreciate this." And you know, but what's this other car that's sitting? It was actually facing the other direction, so I walked over to the back of it, and it's like a fitted thing, and I pull it off, and the first thing I see is the Corvette emblem, and I like pulled the whole thing off, and I had never seen a Corvette like this before, ever in my entire life, and I was like, "These aren't pieces of junk. What are you talking about?" And she's like, "But look how dirty they are."
So dirty.
And they were covered in like mouse
Oh,
droppings and urine, and like the garage roof had leaked on it, and then it just being like open to the elements. It was in a pretty rough shape. And I found out it had sat for like 18 years, and Stan hadn't had a chance to really work on it or touch it when his health started declining. Um, and then a couple months later, he ended up passing away. And like, so this got left to my mother-in-law, and I asked her one day. I was like, "Hey, do you mind like if I took a crack on that car?" I grew up poor. I'm from Flint, Michigan,
okay.
and so I had to learn how to work on cars, or those cars didn't start working. And I'd never like undertook like a project like this before. So I was like, "Yeah, I'll give it a shot." I wasn't really interested in the Ford because it had this big old drag motor on it, and I was more interested in this car. And I got it. First thing I did was go out and get a battery, see if I could even get it to turn over and see if it would
Yeah.
crank at all. And it started cranking like right away because Stan had taken really good care of his car. And then from there, it was just changing spark plugs, taking the engine apart, and doing some work on it, and then a lot of detailing work and whatnot onto the car to
Oh,
get it cleaned up because the chrome was discolored and everything like that.
yeah.
And it just became something that we drive up and down Lake Road every summer. Have a really good time doing it. Every time the mother-in-law sees it coming down the road, she's really close to her brother. Her brother lived in the house that we currently live on. We built on top of it, and then the house that her mother grew up on, that he also grew up in, is two doors down. So every time she sees the car coming down the street or it pulling into the driveway or anything like that, it always brings a tear to her eye. And then the last big thing that we did with it is we used it as our getaway car in our wedding. And there's a lot of emotions and feelings behind that because it was like Stanley was here. He's a really big part of the family. And yeah, it's been here.
Oh, that's a great story. What kind of carburation is on it now?
Now it's got a Holly carburetor on it. It was swapped. The 283 was taken out, and it does have a 350 inside of it.
Well, I'm glad that it's still around. I'm glad you're enjoying it. That's a good story.
I'll tell you, Bill. These reveals that we do on Lost and Found Muscle Cars, it's one of my biggest pleasures is to be able to put two people together that share an ownership history in a car, and just to see that you can now tell your story of ownership of the car with Kevin vice versa. I mean, hey, we got more fish to fry. This car's got history possibly going back to California. So I think there's still more to the story here. But guys, what else do you got to say to each other? I mean, is there a meetup in the future?
Oh, I'd like to do that sometime. I mean, we'll exchange information and you know, just pick a date sometime. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
How's
sounds like a
that?
plan to me.
Good, good. Yeah, I'd love to see it again. And just looking at it there, it looks great. I told Wes I've got a couple videos that I took of the car when I owned it, back in '87, something like that. So if we get a chance to post that, you can see what it looked like back then.
Well, clearly, when Stanley got this car, he saw the same vision of caretaking that you did, Bill. I mean, as you can tell, it's between Kevin, his mother-in-law, and Stanley. The car has changed very little, and it just still just is period 1959 with just a few modern touches on it that give it kind of that rideability. But man, guys, I'm so glad we've been able to put you two together. And at some point, we should do a follow up video. Maybe Bill gets another turn behind the wheel of that old Corvette, and we'll get it updated for our friends here at Lost and Found Muscle Cars.
Okay, Wes, sounds good.
Kevin, thank you so much for making the Corvette available for Bill. I'm glad we were able to give you a little bit of surprise for this holiday season. And with that, guys, pleasure doing this story with you.
Okay, I'm really glad that we got this chance. Thanks, Wes.
Thank you.
You got it.